Hello everybody, interesting video here today. I wanted to do a rewriting of sports history for my teams, my four teams, them being obviously the Cincinnati Reds, Cincinnati Bengals, Ohio State Buckeyes, and Cleveland Cavaliers. This one's a little different because it's pre-birth. I mean, most of these are going to go back to the 70s, 80s, because, I'm in my mid-20s right now, so, I have a lot of sports knowledge, I guess, about my teams, and I've gotten an opportunity to kind of learn the history of all four of these franchises and programs. So I wanted to do a rewriting of it, and I'm actually going to change one moment for every team that I follow, which are these four, obviously. I'm going to change one moment in these franchises' history that I would change to sort of rewrite pretty much the sports history of these four. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of like either a game or a moment or anything, honestly. And yeah, we'll just see if you guys agree, disagree. Let's dive into it. So starting off with the Cincinnati Reds, I am going with Game 7 in 1972. A 3-2 loss to the Oakland Athletics. Unfortunately, a game that they lost at home in Cincinnati. So what I would change is Johnny Bench or Pete Rose, either or. Anybody from that Big Red Machines 1972 team. Deliver a little bit in the earlier innings. That offense was one of the best of all time, and that pretty much that entire decade of Big Red Machine teams was one of the greatest teams, and they went on one of the greatest runs in MLB history. Unfortunately, though, they came up short this year, lost in 7 games. We did pay them back a little bit because in 1990 we went wire to wire and won on the road in Game 4 at their place. So a little bit of payback 18 years later. I would say that this one, not only would it have been another ring for us, but it would have secured the first World Series under manager Sparky Anderson. And obviously we won 2, 1975, 1976. But as everybody knows, 3 is better than 2. It could have set up, the dynasty for even more potential. I mean, more momentum. Because who's to say maybe if they win in 1972, they don't get set back 3 years and eventually win the World Series in 1975, at least their third World Series. So maybe they get set up for even further runs in 1973 and 1974. You never know. I mean, that team, to say the least, they were very good, and I thought that they could have won definitely more than 2. The fact that they got 2 out of it, I can tell you everybody on that roster would tell you that's a failure. Rest in peace to Pete Rose. I bet you he would say we should have got at least 1 more. And I thought that was the best opportunity to get it with a Game 7 at home, and that is what I would change as a Reds fan. So I'm going with the Cincinnati Reds to be 1972 World Series Game 7 against the Oakland Athletics. Moving on to the Cincinnati Bengals, I would change, you can go either or with this one. If we're talking about it in my lifetime, plus the entire history of the Bengals, obviously I'm changing Super Bowl 56, but since this is before my lifetime, I am changing Super Bowl where they lost 26-21 to the 49ers. If it wasn't for this damn division, the NFC West, the Bengals would be 3-time Super Bowl champions. All the games that we've lost have been just frustrating to the core. And obviously, I would say in the third quarter with either Stanford Jennings or Pete Johnson, get that ball in the end zone, run it in. Honestly, if we just convert that, we probably win the game. So, missed opportunity, and you give Joe Montana and that 49ers offense you just give them a new set of, hope, and, that unfortunately would be it for that Bengals team, and they would go home AFC champs after a Freezer Bowl victory, but unfortunately not Super Bowl champs, and they're still searching for their first Super Bowl. I can't tell you how much it infuriates me that we're 0-3 in the big game. It absolutely makes me sick. It makes me just mad. I would say this was our best game. We can talk about Lewis Billups' dropped interception or Tim Crumey's broken leg in 1988. But if you want to just talk about a missed opportunity, at the end of the day, on the drive by Montana, at least you lose to, Joe Montana and John Taylor. That's nothing to be ashamed of, but man, a goal line opportunity in the third quarter to just pad the lead. Unfortunately, it just didn't go our way. So I can't tell you how mad it makes me that we're 0-3 in the Super Bowl. No one to blame but themselves. It just infuriates me because we win that one. Again, not only are you setting up future momentum for more success, but you kind of shift the narrative. Joe Montana possibly has a Super Bowl loss in his resume. Is he ranked as high? I don't know. Ken Anderson has an MVP, and he's probably more remembered in Bengals history and NFL history. I would say, honestly, at this point, do you want to say that he's the third best? Because I think Burrow honestly could be number 2, maybe number 1 at this point. Kind of depending on what you want to rank, but I would say he's definitely in the top 3. Obviously, him, Boomer, and Joe they take the top spots for the Bengals' best quarterback. But yeah, unfortunately, we lost this one. Bengals could have been an AFC powerhouse, but unfortunately, they ran into the same superior team twice in the 1980s, and this one in particular is one that I would change. Just getting that one ring would have meant so much, and we're still in search for it, and hopefully we get it soon. Moving on to the Ohio State Buckeyes, who are the defending national champions now. I would change the 1975 Rose Bowl versus UCLA. Of course, we lost that game by a singular point, so what would I change? Archie Griffin, he had 75 yards on 20 carries. What did he have in the tank? I just wish he had one burst, one type of run, set up a game-winning field goal, and we could have won that game. But man, 75 on 20, can't be too upset with him on that. You know, they possibly claimed that national title, possibly split it with UCLA. So it would have been just another banner up in Ohio State, and then Woody Hayes, his legacy shines brighter. You know, yet another national championship. And then Archie Griffin, the only player to win 2 Heismans in his college career. He would cement his place as pretty much the ultimate legend if, you know, we even further, I mean, he's already a legend, but even further cement his place as a legend if we win this game. So this is one that I would change as a Buckeye fan. I know that it's a lot of things that and factors that play into this type of game. Just speaking on what actually happened, there's one thing that I would change, and it would be this one. I think this would have meant the most to Archie Griffin's legacy and Woody Hayes. So I am going to roll with the 1975 Rose Bowl against UCLA. And finally, I think a lot of bad memories come when you bring up this game. The Cleveland Cavaliers. I am very glad I was not alive for this game. But the 1989 playoffs, Game 5 against the Chicago Bulls, the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls. I mean, there's not much I can say here. I mean, I can't say Brad Daugherty and Craig Elo. I mean, they play better defense because it is Michael Jordan. You know, I'm not going to harp too much on the bad defense that was played because it wasn't bad defense. It was just a great shot by a great all-time, possibly best of all-time player. So what change would I make? And here's the best way I can describe it. God, he comes through and he misses the shot. That's what the best thing I can do because you're talking about Michael Jordan here. He's not going to, you're never going to stop Michael Jordan. But I don't know. I mean, you look at that 1989 Cavs team. I'm with Larry Nance, Mark Price, Brad Daugherty. You're looking at a potential just run in them. I mean, you look at who they would have faced if they had possibly beaten the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls. They probably faced the Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals, who they were competitive against. I mean, they were 3-3. Yeah, they faced the Knicks in the second round. They went 3-2 against them. And with the depth that we have and the team stability that I think we would have had, you know, Lenny Wilkens was an outstanding coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think this team could have been stable. Instead, didn't get over that hump. They won a playoff series in 1993. You know, which was about 4 years after this, and that was unfortunately the last one we won until LeBron James came to Cleveland. And actually, 1993, that was our last playoff series win until just 2 years ago without LeBron James. So I think Jordan, he did a lot of havoc on this franchise. I mean, I know we all respect Michael Jordan, love Michael Jordan, but as far as like in that game, in that moment, in that pretty much span, it was tough to love him if you were a Cavs fan, I'm sure. But I thought that, you know, this team had an opportunity, you know, and who's to say you don't beat the greatest player of all time, arguably, and then, you know, I would say you feel pretty good heading into the deeper round. I think that's the impact of this Cavs season. I mean, you pretty much saw the deflation on the team's face. I mean, you saw when Jordan put up the shot, he started punching the air. Craig Elo was just devastated. He just fell. It was just heart-crushing in Cleveland, and Jordan, I mean, his celebration, of course, was to just tell everybody, get the hell out of here. So a heart-crushing loss, but that is what I would change as a Cavs fan. You know, maybe the thing is with these moments, you can never underestimate how important they are because they can either set you back many years or they can just elevate you even further because of the momentum that you get, the confidence that you get. Confidence is a very underrated trait, in my opinion, in sports. I feel like a lot of people just look at they lost this, they could have had one more. I mean, I feel like everything in sports shapes up what it is because I think one thing just leads to another. And that's why I say, like, these moments are very important. That's why it's so frustrating that, you know, sometimes when my team is on the losing end. So that is that, though. As I said, you know, it is what it is. Can't go back and change it. Gotta move forward. But I think all these have had a lasting impact on these franchises. And if I had to change one of each, I'm picking that one. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that there's any other moment I'm forgetting? Let me know in the comments below. You guys have a great one. Go Reds, go Bengals, go Buckeyes, go Cavs. See you guys next time, man.